Okay, welcome back. This is episode 3, part 2, still in the greenhouse. It is 30 degrees in here. So, although I do water them underneath, as I mentioned before, in this weather, I do mist them on the top to keep them cool. Now, by watering underneath, you notice they're still in trays. I've got a spirit level, and I make sure that that is level. Can you see that? So when I put the water in the tray, it doesn't all run to one end. But when they're this young, it's acceptable to water them from above because the roots are only just below the surface. So when they get a little bit bigger, you need to water them underneath. But as soon as I've finished filming this, I will mist them again to cool them down because it's too hot in here. 30 degrees is too hot for little plants like these. Right, I'm going to show you the vegetable plot and I'm going to talk a bit about composting. At the front here I've got 2 step over apple trees. Now you train them as step overs only when they're really tiny, and you do that at the bottom here. You can only do it when they're really young. Instead of growing upwards, you want them to grow sideways, because he doesn't want to grow sideways and he'll always try to go upwards. You have to keep tying them down while the branch is still flexible. The beauty of that is, of course, you get a lot of fruit and you don't need a ladder to pick the fruit. This is a cooking apple, and over this side is an eating apple, both step overs. Now in here, I'm not doing many vegetables. This is my strawberries, they're not vegetables, but I'll show you anyway. Looking great. Strawberries are brilliant. You can get free strawberry plants every year because they produce runners. I'll show you that later in the year. These are all potatoes in here. Now there's 2 ways of growing potatoes. I use both methods. There's the traditional method, which I'm using in some of the garden, in another part of the garden, where you dig a trench 6 inches deep, put the potatoes in 12 inches apart, and as the foliage appears you keep earthing up, and when the foliage appears again you earth them up again. But this method I'm using here, I put a weed membrane over the whole bed, cut little holes in it, carefully dig a hole 6 inches deep and drop the potato in it, and the foliage will appear through the little hole in the weed membrane, and you don't have to earth them up. Just leave them sat there. When you're ready to harvest, you just cut a bit of the weed membrane away and dig the plant up. It's a great way of growing potatoes, and you can grow potatoes in anything really. Pots or compost bags turned inside out. Half fill it with compost, put the potato in, and then cover it with 6 inches of soil again, and as the foliage appears just put more compost in. The only other vegetables I'm really growing, I only grow vegetables I use a lot. I use a lot of potatoes and I use a lot of carrots. These are my carrots. Now it's important when you're seeding carrots to seed them in straight lines like this, because when they first start appearing you don't really know what is a carrot and what is a weed. If they're in a straight line, level with these sticks, anything that's growing that isn't level with those sticks, it must be a weed, so you bring it out. This one I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in there yet. Now composting is vital. I compost lots, virtually everything. Some things I don't compost, I'll tell you in a minute. But I produce fantastic compost every year. But I have got 3 massive compost bins. You need at least 2 to produce decent compost. This is the one I'm using at the moment. This one's full up, and it's composting, keeping it as hot as possible. You need to Keep compost as hot as possible for the compost. This one's empty. All the stuff that was in this one, which is compost bin B, was originally in A. After a while I turn it over, put it into B. Then when carry on filling A, and then when that's full, put it into B again, and then turn it over into C a little bit later on. And by the end of the year you'll have a load and load of compost. But you do need ideally 3, but definitely 2. Compost is great. And it's real compost, not the multi-purpose you buy in garden centres, which isn't compost at all really, it's a growing media. These are where my other potatoes are. This is a traditional way of growing potatoes. 6 inches deep, 12 inches apart, and keep earthing them up. These are main crop potatoes, so they've only been in there a couple of weeks, and they won't be ready till August time. I showed you this in the part 1. This is my perennial bed. There's more alliums, geraniums. Right, did I tell you about the gunnerer? Very easy to divide. You should divide can gunnerers about every 2 to 3 years. You just dig them out with a sharp spade, cut them in half. Lo and behold, you've got 2 plants. You could even cut them in half again. You've got 4 plants then. Roses are coming on great. More dahlias coming through. That's an empty bed waiting to be filled. Now the other dahlias, which are destined for the oh, there's Candy with her NHS thing on her. It's good. These are the dahlias destined for the front garden. Oh, front garden. Actually, they're not going to go around there yet. Too early. Lilies coming up there. With dahlias, by the way, you could need to, after a while, remove the apical dominance, which will stop it growing upwards. When it reaches the height, you don't want it to go any higher. Nip out the top, and it will stop growing upwards and start growing more bushy. Some more dahlias here coming up. This is the salvia hot lips, which goes mad every year. African marigolds in there. Now you'll notice the pond again. I've used string all the way around it now, mainly because the fishing wire I was using got cut accidentally. So I can't get any more fishing wire at the moment because of the lockdown. So I've put string all the way around it now. This is anti-heron. So I'll feed the fish at the moment. More cassanias over here. Another gunner. And more African marigolds at the back there. Another celebration today. Apart from it being the 75th anniversary of VE Day, it's also day 60 of our self-isolation. We self-isolated 2 weeks before the official announcement by the government. So this is day 60 that we haven't been out. Let's see the fish coming up, and I'll leave you with fish having their dinner. It's quite a sight really. There's the big carp over there, there you can see him. He's enormous. All the others are goldfish. Well, that's about it for this week. I think it's mainly giving you a tour of the whole garden and these two, part 1 and part 2. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. See some more flowers. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you again soon. Bye.